Good morning and welcome to the Forex Daily Update, brought to you by Pepperstone on Tuesday the 25th of September 2018. I'm Darren Sinden and you can follow me throughout the day on Twitter by using @ds_Pepperstone. Right, let's take a look at the overnight changes and price moves to be aware of. And I have to say, with several Asian markets on holiday yesterday, it was a pretty quiet session. Few moves of note, but I will just flag a couple of points. First of all, continued pressure on the Indian rupee, the dollar gaining by 0.6% against the Indian currency, and dollar index for its part trading at 94.31 shortly before we recorded the video, up by around 0.13% in the last 24 hours. Okay then, what's on the calendar? Events that may move the markets today. Well, it's a pretty light calendar as far as data is concerned today, but there are a number of central bank speeches that we should be aware of. We've already heard from the Bank of Japan Governor Kuroda in a speech he made at 5:35 this morning. That's GMT, of course. But to come at 8:10 GMT, we'll hear the first of the day's speeches from the ECB's chief economist, Peter Priet. At 8:40, we'll hear from MPC member Villiger. And then at midday, we'll hear from Mr. Priet's ECB colleague, Benoit Coeur. In case you're wondering why there are these speeches today, there are a number of seminars and gatherings happening in the London markets. Then at 13:30 we'll hear from Peter Priet once more, and he'll be followed on to the lectern by Benoit Coeur speaking again at 14:40 GMT today. In the interim, at 1300 we'll have the S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index data out of the US for the month of July, and then a big gap until 22:45 when we'll have trade balance data out of New Zealand for the month of August. Okay then, breaking news and comment that's caught my eye overnight. First of all, oil, or Brent crude specifically, has held on to recent gains to trade at 4-year highs in Asian markets. Meanwhile, Japanese and US diplomats will meet to discuss trade relations today, whilst President Donald Trump heads to New York to address the UN General Assembly. It's interesting to note that a US 2-year note auction yesterday saw weak demand from investors, despite offering them the highest yields on 2-year paper for a decade. And inflation in Iran has hit a 4-year high of 24.2%, suggesting that new US sanctions are starting to bite. Okay, food for thought, something to take away with you into the trading day and beyond, and why not think about this? Over the last decade, central bankers and governments have tried to stimulate inflation in their domestic economies, but often with mixed results. But perhaps we should be thankful that they have failed, as this chart reminds us of the corrosive effect inflation has on purchasing power. Now, the chart here is from Morgan Stanley, and it plots the erosion of the spending power of a dollar since 1995, and effectively 45% of the purchasing power of the dollar has been eroded since 1985, and 26% of that erosion has come since the year 2000. Morgan Stanley make the point that it is real returns after inflation that matter to investors the most. Okay, please take a moment to read the risk warning. Trading CFDs and foreign exchange on margin can be a risky business. If you're in any doubt about those risks or the suitability of leverage products for you, then please do contact your Pepperstone account representative, and please do take the time to read this risk warning thoroughly. Thank you for your time.